Have you ever heard of a warrior so legendary that even his silence shook kingdoms? A man who laid down his sword after his father's death, vowing never to spill blood again. But when enemies dared to dishonor his father's body, that same man returned, not as a soldier, but as a storm. This is the story of the warrior who rose from grief and turned his pain into fire, the birth of a warrior. In a land where mountains kiss the clouds and rivers carve valleys like veins of silver, war was a constant shadow. Tribes fought for land, for cattle, for gold, for glory. Peace was a stranger, and survival meant strength. The boy who would one day become a legend was born into the House of Steel. His father, Commander Araz, was not only the leader of men, but the soul of the battlefield. He carried scars that told stories, each one a chapter, written in blood and fire. From the age of 7, the boy followed his father to the training grounds. While other children chased goats in the fields, he learned the arc of the sword, the pull of the bow, and the rhythm of shields clashing. Strength alone is nothing, his father often said. A sword without honor is just a blade. But when you fight for your people, when you fight for something greater than yourself, the blade becomes eternal. The boy nodded every time, storing his father's words in his heart like treasures. The father's last battle. Years passed and the boy became a man. By 18, his name already stirred whispers. He rode beside his father into countless battles, his skill sharp, his courage unquestioned. But then came the battle that would change his destiny forever. The enemy was cunning. They did not come with a small raid. They came with an army, vast as locusts, darkening the horizon. The clash shook the earth itself. Commander Araz stood like an oak in the storm, unyielding, roaring commands, striking enemies down with every swing. The sun fought at his side, desperate to guard him. But fate is cruel. A spear, launched from afar, found its mark. It struck the commander deep in the chest. The young warrior screamed. He cut down 3 men, 4, 10, until he reached his father. Blood poured, the commander's face pale but proud. "Father, hold on!" the son cried, pressing his hands against the wound. With his final breath, the great commander whispered, "Do not fear death. Fear dishonor. Promise me, you will carry the fire." And then silence. The son collapsed over his father's body. His sword slipped from his hand. And in that moment, something inside him shattered beyond repair. The vow of silence. The battle raged, but the son no longer fought. He lifted his father's body, carried it through blood and chaos, and buried him beneath the old oak tree near their village. There he laid his sword atop the grave. "I am done," he whispered. "No more killing, no more war. Let the world burn without me." From that day, the warrior disappeared. He left behind the sounds of clashing steel and sought the quiet of the mountains, the years of exile. In the highlands, he built a small hut by a stream. He tilled the soil, planted seeds, and watched them grow. Where once he had spilled blood, now he watered earth. Where once he had raised swords, now he raised crops. Villagers who passed whispered of him. Some pitied him, some mocked him. "The lion has become a lamb," they said, but he did not care. Each night he lit a candle at his father's memory. He whispered the old commander's words, but no longer believed them. The fire had gone out of him, or so he thought. The dishonor. One evening, a rider came with news. The enemy, the same who had struck down his father, had returned. But this time, they had done something far worse. They had dug up Commander Araz's grave. They dragged his bones through the mud. They spat on his name. They laughed at his memory. The warrior froze. His breath caught in his chest. His heart thundered. He saw his father's face. He heard his father's words. Fear dishonor. And suddenly the fire he thought dead ignited once more. The awakening. He returned to the oak tree where his father's sword lay buried. Years of soil covered it. Rust had eaten its edges, but it was still there. He dug with his bare hands until the hilt touched his palm. As he lifted it, the weight felt heavier than ever. Heavier with memory, heavier with rage. Tears streamed down his face. "This sword is no longer mine," he said. "It belongs to my father's honor. And I swear, by blood, by fire, by every breath in my chest, that I will make them pay." The mountains echoed his cry, the return of the storm. When he entered the enemy's camp, he did not come as a man. He came as a storm. The guards sneered. "The fallen cub returned," they mocked. But before the words left their mouths, their heads rolled on the ground. The warrior cut through them with a fury the world had never seen. His sword was a blur, his rage a tempest. Shields shattered, bones cracked, screams filled the night. Every strike carried years of silence. Every slash carried grief. Every thrust carried vengeance. They tried to surround him. They tried to overwhelm him. But he was unstoppable. More beast than man, more fire than flesh. The enemy commander begged for mercy. But mercy was a luxury the dishonored did not know. The warrior's blade silenced him forever. The aftermath. When the ground was soaked in blood and the fires died, the warrior stood alone. Around him lay the bodies of those who had mocked his father. He returned to the oak tree. He carried his father's remains, stolen from the enemy, and laid them once more in the earth, this time deeper, safer, sacred. Kneeling, he pressed his forehead to the soil. "Father, they will never touch you again. Your honor is restored. Rest now in peace." He laid the sword down once more upon the grave, this time not in defeat, but in fulfillment. The story of the silent warrior is not just about war. It is about love between father and son. It is about the weight of honor, heavier than any blade. It is about grief turning into fire, silence turning into thunder. We all lose people we love. We all carry scars that time cannot heal. But when honor is challenged, when dignity is stolen, even the broken can rise again. The warrior's tale lives on because it tells us this: life ends, love does not, and honor is eternal.